Hello and welcome back to Family Tech, where you get to be the tech expert of your home. So, today is super fun. My guest is Jasmine, who has an amazing YouTube channel on her own.
Thank you.
It's dedicated to virtual reality. So, I wanted to bring her on and help you guys understand what VR is, what it's not, how you can have fun with it. So, Jasmine, tell everyone a little bit about yourself and about your channel.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm so happy to be here. So thanks for having me. Love the background. Very family friendly. So I'm Jasmine from VR with Jasmine. I have a YouTube channel. I'm also on TikTok and pretty much every single platform you can think of, including LinkedIn. And I focus on VR and AR technology. I do a lot of, talking about tech. My background's actually in mechanical engineering, robotics. So I just like from a tech standpoint, I really love that. And then since I did a lot of automation, I also love using new tech to like improve your life, like make your life more like fun, easy. There's so many things you can do, and it's really like VR is a really great space to be in.
Yeah, for sure. So those who don't really know what exactly it is, what's the
Oh,
difference between AR and VR? Because they have some differences for sure.
yeah, and you know what? There's also a third term that we should throw in the mix there while we're trying to not confuse anyone, which is mixed reality.
Right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so VR is just think of it, you're completely immersed. So I like to compare this as like you're dreaming. Like in a dream, you're completely in something, and so that's what virtual reality is. It completely replaces the entire space that you're in. So you put on this like VR headset and you see stuff. It's kind of like seeing stuff on a. It's kind of like seeing things on a TV, like a very big TV, but it's like it's such a wide view, like horizontally and vertically, that it's just encompassing. Like you're just there. And because there's all these, there's like gyroscope, IMU, like a bunch of technology that's in a headset. Basically, when you turn around, it knows where you're looking, where you are in your space. It locates you. So instead of just being this flat screen that you're looking at, you can walk through the environment because it can also track what you're looking at and where you are in your space. So it's a pretty futuristic technology.
Yeah.
Um, and with augmented reality, so that one, if you've ever used like a filter on Instagram or a Snapchat filter, if you've seen Pokemon Go, it's literally just overlaying things on top of your real world environment. So that's the simplest way to put it. Like true augmented reality, though, would be if we were like, I would like you to imagine a window pane. If you on your window pane put like a sticker, if that sticker was digital, then it would technically be augmented reality. So it's being able to see through something, but then overlay something digitally on your real world environment. Then we get into mixed reality, which gets a little bit more complicated. But like I was saying, so if you ever seen those like futuristic movies too, and they're like holding like a clear panel and there's something projected onto it and that's digital, that's actually what real augmented reality is. And in the future, what we want to see is how that would work on like projecting digital stuff on glasses. So that's true augmented reality. But what we see a lot right now, so actually like filters and Pokemon Go, that's actually mixed reality, where instead of being able to see through something, it's using a camera footage and overlaying on top of that camera footage. So that's mixed reality. So it's mixing two different like mediums together. But most people right now consider that as augmented reality or AR, just because the actual true AR is a little bit harder to do, and we're not quite there yet.
Yeah, for sure. I'm thinking with the like true augmented reality, looking at the Apple Vision Pro or something like that, it seems like more along the lines of what true augmented reality will be, right?
Even Apple Vision Pro is actually mixed reality because
Oh, okay.
it's not like the front of the Apple Vision Pro is clear. They actually have cameras on the outside, and
Oh,
that's
right.
how it's seeing the world around you, and
That
then
makes
it's
sense.
using that camera footage to overlay. So technically, it's mixed reality, but again, because we don't have true augmented reality, it's the
Considered.
technical terms are a little jumbled, but that's okay. Whatever makes it easiest for people to understand and be able to join in on the technology.
Yeah, for sure. So I know you're super into all of the awesome headsets. So the Quest 3 recently came out. So if somebody's got a Quest 2, can you talk about what the differences are between the Quest 2 and the Quest 3?
Oh man, yeah. So the Quest 3 is phenomenal. It really is pushing new boundaries. It's so exciting. But I guess let me back up a little bit. So the Quest 2 is a good headset, especially if you like the biggest issue with it is the comfort level. That's always been the biggest issue. So if you get the right accessories and you make it comfortable, which is a ton, the accessory market in the VR space, they're making so much money right now. It's ripe for people. So anyway, if you upgrade your Quest 2 and like customize it, I guess, to be comfortable, then it's a great headset, and it still is a pretty good headset. I would say the main difference between the Quest 2 though and the Quest 3 is that the Quest 3 has really good what we call pass through. So like I said, when you have these cameras looking outward in the world, and you can see like it feels like you're really looking through the lenses, like as if you were looking through glasses, because these cameras are so good. So that's what Quest 3 has, and it's in full color. On the Quest 2, it's very grainy, black and white. It's like, it's a bit outdated. And because the Quest 3 has because the Quest 3 has like such an upgraded pass through and mixed reality, there's all these new things that you can do now. Like people are using the Quest 3 headset how you would imagine using like augmented reality glasses if they existed. Obviously, this is very bulky and crazy, but some of the things people can do, like you can like some I mean I would not don't do this but you like some people are like cooking while with their headset on because you can see through it so clearly that you can like cook while like watching something. Like you can just have a window open, and this window, by the way, can be huge because it's VR. You can do whatever you want. So you can be watching like a big thing of TV. Some people watch like a cooking show while
Yeah.
they're making their food, and like you don't have to keep flipping your head back to look at the TV because it just follows you wherever you go. There's a lot of like, yeah, and then there's also a lot of new like apps and games that really take advantage of this mixed reality feature. One of the most like I think prominent ones is this app called Piano Vision. So Piano Vision, you would basically tell it like, hey, this is the start of my keyboard and the end of my keyboard, or like your piano. And it would say, how many keys is it? So it's 88 keys. And then from that, it would overlay this digital like piano. And all of a sudden, like if you've never played piano before, all you have to do is like follow the finger patterns and also the keys that press down, and all of a sudden you can play piano. It's crazy. It's like, yeah,
Wow.
it's taken the world by storm. And with that, it has mixed reality, so you can see your keyboard, your piano very nicely, or keyboard. Again, this is available on Quest 2, but it's black and white. It doesn't feel as immersive, so it's still doable. It just doesn't feel as real or as yeah. So those are like the main difference I would say. But if you're not the type of person that like if you're just really into like hardcore gaming and you just want to be like in very immersive worlds, you don't really care about doing all these like random casual things that are a bit like on the quirky side with mixed reality. Or yeah. So if you're more focused on just like a really immersive gaming, then the Quest 2 is still a really good headset. And it still does all the things, although like there's more things on the Quest 3, like processing power and graphics are a bit better. But I think if someone didn't have the budget to buy a Quest 3, like the thing that they would mostly be missing would be the mixed reality experiences, which might be okay for some people because it's not for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great advice. It kind of goes into my next question, which I think we've already answered, is do you think it's worth it to upgrade if you already have a 2? So it's probably just if you want that mixed reality stuff.
Um, if you can upgrade, yeah, you should
Yeah.
upgrade. Even if you weren't doing the mixed reality stuff and you wanted to do, if you wanted to just do like gaming, it's still worth it because of the processing power, and it just like things run smoother, they look so much better. But like again, not everyone has the budget, and sometimes like you've already purchased this, and so I don't want them to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm using this thing that's not usable anymore. Like the Quest 2 is still very usable. You just might not get as like crisp graphics, but I compare it to if you've always watched something in a certain quality level, you don't really know what you're missing, right? So it's still fine.
Right.
That's your baseline. But when you do upgrade, you're gonna be like, oh wow, okay, this is great.
Yeah, that's like when I first started wearing glasses, like my prescription's
Oh my
not
gosh,
like super
yes.
crazy, but it would be like, okay, do I want to like see the world in HD or do I want to like see kind of a blurry version of the
Yeah,
world?
exactly. And like I know like, grandparents that still have really old like box TVs, and obviously you
Yeah,
could get better quality, but what works for you is fine.
right.
So upgrade if you have the means to and you think that you're going to use your headset a lot, but if you don't, like, don't feel too bad. It's the Quest 2 is still perfectly functional.
Yeah, and then I didn't send this question to you, but I was on my other podcast, and one
Ooh,
of
another
the
one?
hosts, yeah, so this one I'm a co-host for a more tech focused podcast, so I don't talk about it a lot here
Oh.
because it's not something like my audience is like really into,
Mhm.
but it's called the Not Null podcast. There's a bunch of like software developers and stuff. But
Oh,
anyway, so one of
cool.
them just got the Quest 3 and I hadn't heard about like accessories that like make it more comfortable, and he was talking about an accessory that kind of like evens out the weight distribution. So what other kind of accessories like, and that was the first I heard of that. I was like, my son has a Quest 2, and I'm like, oh, that's super interesting. I didn't know that there was accessories like that. So what other kind of accessories are there?
Wow, you're just getting into my domain. Again, because I have like a mechanical design, mechanical engineering background.
Right.
This is all I talk. Like I'm obsessed with this stuff. So
Nice.
okay, well,
Perfect.
hopefully
See,
you have the
that's why I
time.
had you on.
Yeah, hopefully you have the time for this. But oh, for your son, I have this playlist called Quest 2 like handbook on my YouTube channel, and that has like walks you A through Z of if you have your Quest 2, like exactly what you need to do. I'm building my Quest 3 one up, so some more accessories coming there. But okay, so we'll start small, and then we're gonna get really grand because
Sure.
it goes pretty far. There's some things that I have that people have never even heard of. Like it can
Yeah.
get pretty crazy. So with the more basic stuff, yes, headset straps, very common thing. That's probably one of the first things I recommend people to replace is their headset strap because like comfort is so big. You don't want to be getting headaches. You don't like, sometimes if you don't have the fit right, you're not getting the sweet spot on the eyes. And so it can look really blurry. There's a lot of things. So I just think that headset strap is the first thing. With the headset strap, yeah, there's things that are more like hard straps. So it's just like more balanced from the front and the back weight wise. But there's also this thing called like a halo strap, which like just puts the force on your forehead. So it's like a hat. The
Mm.
headset becomes like a hat instead of something that squishes front and back, and people have their preferences. There's also battery packs that are integrated into these headsets. So now, or into these headset straps, so you can play for like double the amount of time, sometimes more. There's even, oh gosh, it gets crazy. So there's even like headset straps that have like like hot swappable battery packs. So you just like you have the
Oh.
headset and then or the headset on with the strap on, and the back of it has like a battery pack that like when you're running low on battery, you just take it off and you plop on another one, and you just like swap them for like nonstop for those that really want to game nonstop. And this is really helpful. For example, we've done my company has done events where we're showing new people like VR for the very first time, and one of the things there is like if you're having a headset running for like 8+ hours nonstop a day, like how do you do that? Because a lot of the times people have like backup headsets and there's always like charging in the background. But for this, you just like swap out the battery like nonstop. So that's pretty cool. So
Yeah,
that's
that's awesome.
so that's one. That's headset strap. So
Yeah.
we have more.
One category.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously you can tell that I'm like so into this stuff because I will just go off for forever. But the other stuff too is that there's facial interfaces. So a lot of people use VR for fitness, and one of the things that come like built into the headset, a lot of them are like foam or some like fabric material. So they really like, it's kind of gross if you really think about it. Soaking up a lot of your sweat and your germs, and then you're like, you never like people never clean this thing. It's pretty gross.
Yeah.
So there's two options that you can have with this. You can either do like a silicone cover. So you just put a cover on it. This makes you sweat more, but it's easy to clean. Just like wipe it down. Another one is you have like a thing that you put over. It's almost like a phone case. And that's something that you can just take it off, throw into the wash. And
Mm.
another one too is like there's ones that are like some sort of like hybrid material, like a pleather material. So you switch out the interface completely, And that one, it is squishy still, but not exactly silicone. So it's not not as hygienic as like being able to clean silicone, but you can still wipe it down much better than if you like, a pleather material rather than doing like the fabric.
Right.
So that's another one. So I'm gonna try to go a little quicker on the other ones because it's
Oh,
just
you're
gonna
totally
take
fine.
too long. But also controller straps. Like so, usually you have your controllers, you're holding them, and you put them on your wrist here. What ends up happening a lot is if you don't use the wrist strap, which I recommend everyone to do, that they do use it. Sometimes you're flinging around, then you accidentally like hold your controller, it goes flying through your TV, flying through your drywall, and then someone's gonna get mad and upset. So
Sure.
there's like covers that you can put onto your controllers where it turns them into like knuckle grip. So they actually like grip onto your like they're just like tight around your hand, so you can never let them go.
Oh,
I
nice.
love those because I have very slippery butter hands. So it's very that one's very convenient. There's also like charging docks. So like sometimes you never know what to put your headset because it's just like where do you put it? Just in the corner somewhere. So there are
Right.
like docks where you can put your headset onto and it auto charges it when it's on that dock so that you never like are, oh, I want to play today, and then you can't because it's not charged. Okay, now we're gonna get to like the really crazy stuff, which I'll speed run through.
Sure.
These things pretty crazy. So there's haptic vests, so vests that you can wear that have like vibration around them. And so, for example, if you were like to get a hug in VR, you could feel it, or if someone was like scratching your back, or if you were like going under a waterfall, it would like vibrate through your body. It's very cool, very massage feeling. A little more intense than that is like there's like a shirt that you can wear that's kind of like a TENS machine. The TENS machine is one that like zaps your muscles to make them contract. So this can be very, very painful and also very dangerous. But there are like these kind of shirts that some people like to wear because they want to be able to feel pain when they're playing certain games because it forces them to get better. Like when you can't feel the impact of you not being able to do well in a game,
Yeah.
it feels less. There's less risk involved, I suppose.
Right.
So there's those. There's also versions of those for your face and your arms, obviously, because why not?
Right. Do the whole
um,
bodysuit, right.
yeah, you could do it. Oh my gosh, yeah, there is actually also a full body
Oh,
suit. It's
I'm
like
sure.
$12,000 for that suit. It's
Oh,
very crazy.
wow. That's crazy.
And then there's also like VR treadmills, different
Right.
types of VR treadmills. Usually you get strapped into the middle, like that. There's one where you strap into the middle and you slide your feet. And instead of having to use your thumbstick to get around the environment, you're now having to physically run. It's really exhausting, great workout. And like, I mean, it's so funny because I'm climbing, like I've done these things where I'm like climbing or like I'm walking across like a field to do a quest with my friends in VR. But I'm like,
Yeah.
can we take a break, please? I'm like so tired because I'm physically running through these things.
Right. You're like,
Yeah.
"Guys,
So
guys, come on. Can we hang on for just a second?"
yeah, and it's really great workout. And let's see, there's a ton of other ones, but I think those are the main ones. Oh, and then there's also haptic gloves. Haptic. I mean, some of this is really futuristic because I just love tech in general. But there's like haptic gloves that let you like haptic slash force feedback gloves that actually like restrict your fingers from being able to close all the way. So when you grab stuff in VR, you can like feel like you're actually grabbing it. There's
Oh,
also
cool.
ones that have like a temperature built into it where like if you touch something hot in VR, it feel it. I mean, it's pretty nuts, especially what's happening in like the enterprise and like in the government. The technology that they're using, which is the stuff that's like costing tens of thousands of dollars, eventually that's what's going to be refined and made like cheaper, faster, and it's all going to trickle down into the consumer. But has a long ways to go before you get there.
So we're, like, almost to Ready Player One, but, like, not quite there. Is that what you're saying?
You can't. I mean, there's definitely. I mean, I have stuff, so I could.
Yeah.
It's
That's awesome.
expensive. There's a lot of money. It costs a
Right.
lot of space. But yeah, for the general public, I'd say it's probably good at least 5 more years because we need to get people adopting. Probably 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, that makes sense. We did get a comment on Instagram, VR hugs are better than pain.
Yeah, I agree. Oh my gosh, I love the vest because you just feel so. What's the word? You feel so like yeah, it just feels like it's a massage. You're just like, oh, I'm just gonna go hang out, and like my favorite one is going through the waterfalls. That one's fun. Oh, and then there's also ones where you can go through like fields of bees, and then you can feel the bees buzzing all around you. But like it doesn't hurt. It's so
Sure. They're
fun.
not stinging you.
Yeah, yeah. You're not using the painful one. You're using the nice
You're right.
one, the massage one.
That's so awesome. Thank you for that. Like I literally was like, "Oh, yeah, of course there's accessories for it." And then I just had no
You get
idea.
crazy.
Yeah. So aside from the Quest, like are there any other VR devices that you are really liking?
Yeah, there's I guess these ones are all like really expensive though.
Yeah.
Because I like
Well, if
more
you've got the
the
money to burn, let's go
yeah,
ahead.
it's business expense.
Right.
But so some ones that are really good is like one that everyone's been using for a long time is HTC Vive. But that one, or sorry, not that one, the Valve Index. But that one's is like 4 years old, so we're kind of waiting to see if they're going to come out with a new one. That's a PC VR, PC VR versus standalone, meaning with a standalone headset like the Quest headset, you don't have to use anything. It's like your phone; you can just use it by itself. That's why it's called standalone. But some of these like other headsets that are alternatives are ones that you connect to your computer, and it uses the processing and graphic power of your computer, so things just run even smoother, looks even better. But it requires you to have a nice PC
Right. Yeah.
to do it. Yeah. So you have
Yeah.
to buy
You're
the
not going to
PC
get
and
some
the headset.
consumer grade PC and like be able to do VR with it.
Um, Again, I mean, I don't know. But like to me, in my mind, I'm like, oh, my consumer PC
Well,
runs
I
at
mean, like more of a gaming PC,
that.
like
Yeah.
with a good
It,
processor.
yeah, that makes
I'm
sense.
talking about like the $500 laptops that somebody's gonna
Yeah, oh, yeah,
get.
definitely. Don't try to use. Everyone always asks me, "Can you use a Chromebook?" I'm like, "No."
No.
Like, "Can you use a MacBook?" No.
Yeah.
So yeah, you definitely need like a proper PC. But one that's really good is the Vario Aero. Very expensive. Actually, they just dropped in price. That's good. They're now, I think, like $2,000 instead of the 2,500 or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But with that, like, oh my gosh, the graphics beautiful. Everything's just like it like almost hurts your eyes because it's so good, like the quality.
Wow.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
again, these other ones that I'm talking about are more for people who are interested in PC and hardcore, more hardcore type of gameplay. I would say for the everyday person, like the Quest headset is like your best bet.
Yeah, for sure. So speaking of really expensive VR type headsets, what are your thoughts about the Apple Vision Pro?
I am very excited for the Apple Vision Pro. I have a lot of thoughts, but I'm excited because I want Apple to get into the game. I think that that would really solidify the space. And, you know, anytime Apple gets into something, that's when it starts going on the mainstream route. Like, for example,
Right.
there were like smartwatches aren't new, but like Apple made the Apple Watch and all of a sudden it was like, whoa, right? There's a lot of things that whenever Apple gets into it, it really redefines the space, which is what I'm most excited for. I like the fact, like the other thing too is I think the biggest issue with VR in general and yeah, just with VR in general is like there's a lot of friction to get into it. It's not super intuitive. You do have to have some technical like not technical background, but like, you know, technical aptitude. For example, like, I mean, I was able to teach my mom, but I did have to like walk her through. It's not just like picking up a phone and it's so intuitive, so easy to get into that anyone could do it. Yeah, there's a little bit
Right.
of like training that needs to happen with getting people into VR. But I do think with like it's so smart with the Apple Vision Pro that they're not coming out with like controllers. They want it to be so intuitive, so easy that anyone could do it. And I think that that will be that'll be really important for the space in general. And I like the fact that they're focusing on like productivity, work applications, connected things. I
Mhm.
think with VR, you can feel very connected to other people through like certain apps, but at the same time, it's also very isolating because anyone in the space with you is kind of now like you're just by yourself. You're not interacting with anyone in the real world with you. But it seems like Apple's focus is to have it be more of like something that you can use even when you're in a social environment, even at work, all these things. So I'm excited. I really would like to try it. I think it's very, very expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be interesting because most of the people in the VR space right now are in it because of gaming.
Mhm.
And while I'm very interested in like productivity and like, I mean, like I could go off on productivity. Okay. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna tell you anyway.
Do
So
it,
there's this
do it.
one, yeah, there's this one app where in VR where you can mind map. So if your mind ever feels really cluttered or you're just like, I just don't even know where to start, you can go into this app and you can just like start dumping out your thoughts all around you. And then once you've like, like emptied it out, you can grab those things and start connecting them with lines or placing them in different places. And it just like you organize your mind in like in a 3D space. It's really cool.
I would be so all over that. I'm like, I might have to go steal my son's Quest and do that.
Yeah, you should get a Quest 3 and do it. But
Wow.
yeah, it's like it's think about how some people have like whiteboards for walls. It's like
Yeah.
that, but like to the extreme level. And there's even more. There's so many productivity stuff in VR right now, and I just don't think that that's because it's still so new and the audience for VR is still very gamer.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's enough attention that's being paid. Like it's not getting enough attention. All this like other cool stuff like education, productivity. It's something that I care about and something that I want to like show more of, and I plan to show more of. But I think once Apple drops the Vision Pro, there's going to be more attention on it, and I'm excited for that. Have another
Yeah.
thing I need to share you because it's so cool. So
Do
there's
it.
also this there's two more apps that I need to share. So there's one called Nano VR, and it's like Magic School Bus in VR. It's so so cool. So it's like a game, but it's very rooted in science. Like it's meant to be educational. It's like I think it was funded by like the educational department or something through the U.S. government.
Yeah.
But the whole premise is it's like you're in a pandemic, which that part was a little bit like, oh, PTSD.
Weird.
I had a little bit of PTSD playing through
Yeah.
that part. I was like, oh,
You're like,
like
no,
all the
no
news
more
being like, oh,
pandemics.
yeah, more countries have it. And I'm like, I don't want to hear it. But in that one, you're like a scientist, and they're trying to find the cure for it. And your job as a scientist, so they like inject the infected patients with these cells. And what you do as a scientist is you put on a VR headset and you like you maneuver the cells and you try to like find the antibodies and like you try to find like the pathogen. And like I'm not biology, I don't know anything about that stuff, but it was like this was really interesting. Yeah, so this is how it works. And it's so cool. And then there's another one too, which is like there's two language learning apps in VR, which are really cool. One is called, let's see, one's called Immerse. And with that one, it's like it's real life language learning. So you go into these different environments and you have to like sign up for classes. It's like signing up for online classes. But you would go to these different environments. So for example, if I want to learn like French, I would say I want to learn French, and then you'd pick like beginner, and you would either like do a lesson in a house or you would do a lesson at a park, like these environments that are you frequently find yourself in, and there's a teacher there, and they're like a live teacher instructor, and there's other students, and they like they're like, okay, now like find some items that you would like to take with you to like what's some of your favorite things to do in the park, and then you kind of like all gather stuff and you come back to the teacher, and then they're like, okay, now can you say it in that language, like, hey, what did you bring for us today? So it's a very immersive like language learning.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, there's so many things. Oh my gosh, there's even like what's it called? Sign language learning in VR, like whole communities. There's like dancing communities in VR where you can take dance classes and dance studios. Um, and the other language learning one is called what is it? Nountown, and it's like this whole world, this whole city that you're in, and it's all in black and white. And then you have to go into these cities, into these like these shops and stuff, and learn the different terminology. So it's almost like Duolingo if Duolingo was like more and in
Yeah.
3D. And as you learn different like objects, they start turning into different color, like they start being colored. So you're trying to color this town by learning about how to navigate around the town, learning like the different terminology, so that if you were ever to travel, you could actually talk about real things, not just the more professional kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. I'm like, seriously, I hadn't really, I mean, like I said, my son loves VR and,
Mhm.
I just haven't gotten into it. And I think that's the general like population, like, the people who are really into gaming have it, but it's so awesome to hear about all these cool things that even adults would love, even kids would love, and like that really can be super educational.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot, and I'm excited for Apple Vision Pro to come out because of the fact that they're focused not on gaming. They're very focused on
Mhm.
all the practical things that you can do with a headset, and I think that's going to highlight all of these amazing things that all these developers and stuff have created that just have not gotten enough attention.
Yeah, for sure. So you've mentioned a few of these like awesome educational. Are there any favorite games that you have in the VR space?
That's like the hardest question
I
ever
know.
to answer. I have like
You're like
lots of different
all of
games.
them.
Um, So I actually really like rhythm games. I grew up like
Mhm.
playing Dance Dance Revolution, Guitar Hero, Rock Band, all that stuff. So anything rhythm based, I love. And it's also a really great workout. So it's kind of, you're like, it's like a workout that you don't even know or feel is happening. So it's going to sound so cliche, but obviously Beat Saber is really good. And there's this one called Dance Dash. And that one, it's like it's like shuffle, like you dance. It's your on your feet. You attach your controllers to your feet, and you have to
Oh.
like dance to do it. So that one's very exhausting. There's a lot of jumping. Um, and there's also now Samba de Amigo is in VR now, and like that one is very like it's very like colorful. It feels like it's intended for kids. But I go in there and I'm like, this is so fun. It's so like you can't not feel happy. The whole premise of the game is that you're like in a dance party with all these colorful animals, and you're just shaking maracas, and you just like have to shake the maracas to whatever they tell you, and that's it, and it's so fun. um a couple of other ones that aren't rhythm based. I really love Red Matter. Red Matter. If anyone, if he is a Stranger Things fan, Red Matter has that same like creepy, but not scary, just like very like creepy aura. It's like there's a mystery they have to solve. It's like the premise of it is you're in space and you wake up, you don't remember anything, and you just kind of have to like walk around this empty like space station and figure things out. But then you keep getting these weird like flashes of some like some like creepy other world basically. Anyway, that whole thing, once you play the whole thing and you find out like the ending after I finished that, like the ending was so mind-boggling. It's like inner like inception level where you're just like, what just happened? I had to go on Reddit. I was like, can you all tell me like what happened in this? But there's some really great ones like that too. And there's some more casual ones, but yeah, this is a difficult question. I all a lot.
All of the above. I'll narrow it down in just a second, but I am curious if you've been able to go to the Void, either on have you heard of the Void?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so well, maybe you don't know it as the Void. It started actually in Utah, and so I got to go through like a little preview of it. But they had a Ghostbusters one at Disneyland, and I think maybe a Star Wars one, and one in Disney World. But it's like so when it was here and what it was supposed to be, you have a headset on and you are in this environment and it
Mhm.
becomes like whatever environment. So like I grab a torch off the
Mhm.
wall and I'm grabbing something that's actually on the wall, but I'm seeing it all in VR. And it's like, this just super immersive. Like, so the Ghostbusters one, you're like in Ghostbusters and you're like, battling a ghost
Mhm.
and whatever. So I think it's still a Disney World and maybe a Disneyland, just in the not in the park itself, but just in the um, downtown
No,
Disney
I
area.
haven't tried that. Yeah, that sounds really cool though. And I guess I didn't even go into there's this app called Resonate. It used to be like there was a predecessor to that called Neos. And when you were saying earlier, like, oh, so Ready Player One's possible, like it does exist. Like in these are like social apps that you can hang out in, but you need PC VR. So a lot of people aren't in there, which is good. I think it's mostly an older audience in there because you need more expensive gear to get in.
Right.
You can do whatever you want. Like it's actually like it's pretty insane. Like there was a whole planet that I went to. It's just like a tiny little planet, and there's just a cow and infinite amount of buckets, and all you do is like milk the cow. It's crazy. It's like the silliest things that you can do. There's also like worlds where you can like walk on the walls and walk upside down,
Oh,
and it can
fun.
be very nauseating for people. but and then you can interact with people, you can interact with anything. It's like, it's actually mind boggling. So like, for example, I had like a firework, and I told my friend, okay, I'm gonna like attach it to this firework, and so I attached them, and then they like got, blasted into the atmosphere. Or like, I can also have like a pokeball, and I can like have my friend go into the pokeball, and I can walk around, and like they'll see is they're small in the pokeball, and everything's all shaky, so you can mess with them if you wanted to be rude and like
Oh,
shake them
fun.
around. But like, yeah, VR can get pretty crazy depending on the gear that you have.
Yeah, that's awesome. So speaking of like kind of that kind of interactive with other people, what about asynchronous games? Like, would you have any favorite asynchronous games?
Now, the only asynchronous one that I could think of is FitXR, and I don't even know if that counts. So FitXR is like a fitness one, where you can do like Zumba classes, dance classes, hit classes. It's pretty good workout. And in there, like when you go in, you see these people taking the class with you, but these people were like pre-recorded whenever they did it. You just have to like say yes, that you
Oh
like
yeah.
agree. So then you can see like how your score ranks against like the 5 people or the 4 people in the class with you. But like, they're not actually there in that moment. They like probably played at a different time. And that's really cool. I think it's really, even though like, I know that they're not there, but it really makes you feel like not alone, like you're doing this workout with other people, and then you can
Yeah.
see how you're scoring against them, and you see how they moved throughout the workout. So that's pretty cool.
That is really cool. I'm mostly thinking of like I play Acrons with my son,
Mm-hmm.
where like I'm just like on my phone playing, and
Oh,
he's got his headset,
oh yeah.
and so like we can play together. But like I don't have a headset; he's got the headset. So like I found a
Yeah.
few different games that kind of have that aspect where you don't all have to have the headset, but you can still play together.
That is not as common. The most popular one is like, oh gosh, man, nobody stop talking. It's something and
Oh, I think
nobody
I know what you're talking
dies.
about.
I can't remember
Yeah.
what it's called. I've never played it, but basically someone's in a headset and they have to like act out, like do whatever it is to like defuse the bomb, but the people are on their
Right.
phones like trying to tell them, like looking at different clues trying to tell them. So that's one. But there are games, for example, there is Demio. Demio is kind of like Dungeons and Dragons in VR, but D&D people get really offended when you say that. So kind of like that, but
Kind.
yeah, and you can play that in VR, but other people, it's also on PC and it's cross play, so you can play it on your computer. Some people can play on the computer, and some people can play in VR, and play together. And it's one of my favorite games. I played that for 12 hours straight one time on New Year's Eve.
Wow.
Yeah, and the only reason I knew it was like New Year's was because I started
Yeah.
hearing fireworks, and I was like, oh crap.
Oh, there
Um,
we go.
really, really fun game.
Yeah, I think the one you're talking about is Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes.
There we go. Yes, that one.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I think those are both really fun. I like to play those with my son sometimes.
But yeah, that's a great question. I should probably look into more of those and then probably put together a list in the video.
Yeah, I mean, I have a list of like 5 that I've found. Like, so I just pulled up the list and I was like, oh yeah, Keep Talking, Nobody Explodes. But
Mm-hmm.
Space Team VR is when like I
Never
haven't
heard
played
that.
these other games, but Puppet Fever sounded really interesting too, and Octaraid. But those are the
I've never heard of any of these. No, that's a great
yeah.
point, though. I should look into this more.
Perfect video for you. I love it. Um,
Yeah, how can you play with your kids without having to be in a headset yourself?
yeah, yeah. Stay tuned for that video from VR with Jasmine. Make sure you subscribe to her channel so you can see it. So what other dangers or no, sorry, I'm gonna go back one. For someone who gets motion sick, but still wants to try out VR, what do you recommend?
Yeah, so I get motion sick. I would recommend first, when you first get into VR, don't do any of the crazy stuff. Just go very simple experiences. Seated experiences are your friend. You need to warm up to it, like just with anything. Like you will like get more used to it too. But definitely the first week's very like, for example, Beat Saber is a really great one because you just stand in place. The environment's not moving; it's just blocks coming at you, and that's pretty easy for you to digest. There's also, I forgot to mention, there's a lot of like VR movies that you can watch, and they're so good. They're like
Oh, nice.
3D animated films made for VR, and it's like Pixar level, so high quality. It's gorgeous, and you just sit there and you kind of experience it all around you. Those are some really good ones. I have a video on my channel too you can look at. And some of them have like some very minimal interactions that you have to do, like maybe like, oh, can you hand your this character like a piece of paper or something, and then it continues so that you're not just sitting there passively. But yeah, definitely like start very, very slow. Anything where the environment is moving or you have to walk around through the environment, don't do those yet. Um, yeah. And then the other things you could do too. So I use I used to, I don't anymore because I think I've gotten a lot more like I don't know, more solid stomach, I guess. I used to use these like pressure these like wristbands
Oh.
with pressure points like acupuncture.
Mhm.
Like what like to me they work. Some people are like, oh, it's just a placebo effect. I'm like, whatever. Placebo effect with not placebo effect, it works for me. So
Yeah.
um there's actually another thing too. There's this like band that goes around your neck. I haven't tried it yet. It's something I'm gonna try and review later. But that's a new one that came out to help with motion sickness. Also, you can do any like anything you would use to get over motion sickness and like car sickness or like seasickness. It's that should also work. Having a fan blowing at you is very helpful because that helps
Oh.
you with direction and it grounds you in reality. So sometimes you know how with seasickness you have to like look into the horizon to kind of like ground yourself. Having a fan blowing at you is one of those things. For some reason, it grounds you in reality. I think
Very good tip. I
yeah, I did a whole video on this too. So all these like anything that gets people into VR. So my channel's always been about how do you get like people that aren't as familiar, how do you get them in? What's like the most gentle experiences? Like what are some cool things? So I like gaming, but I try not to be a heavy gaming channel. I like to focus more on like practicality, which is why I'm excited about all these different things.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. So what about some dangers for kids inside VR? Is there anything we should be
Oh
aware of?
yeah. There's a lot of, I mean, there's a good amount of danger, sadly. So the first one I would say is obviously when you're in VR, you're exposed to people from all wakes of life. And so for some time, for example, Gorilla Tag, a very, very popular kid game,
Mhm.
um, some of the kids just aren't good kids. That sounds mean, but like there are like like bullying happens, like attacking, like saying like like profanity, using like really like racist words, a lot of things like that. So the parts that are better, I guess, is the part that's better is the community. Like if the game dev does a good job of building a community, they also start self-regulating. So what I've seen with Gorilla Tag is there's a lot of people that are just like no, like they start being like no, you can't do that. Or there's like moderators now that are undercover that will just go around like banning people.
Oh,
So
nice.
they're working on combating it. I wish there was more.
Yeah.
But another thing too is like in some social settings, this isn't necessarily just for kids too. In some social environments, sometimes you can get harassed and people are like it's not real, it's just VR, like you're not really being harassed. But it's like I feel like my personal space is being invaded, and whether or not like you can physically touch me, like the fact that you're in my face can feel really offensive. There are some things to combat that, like in Horizon World, which is Meta's social metaverse. They have this thing called personal bubble, and you can't turn it off. Everyone has to always be like 4 feet radius away from you. So some
Oh,
people
that's
are like, "This
nice.
is so annoying. Like you can't interact with people. Like why are you why are you like censoring us?" I suppose. But it's a fine line. Um, the worst thing I would say is probably like in these social VR worlds, especially like for VR chat, you think, oh, my kid's just like a hot dog running around this like world. It's probably really safe. And it's generally pretty safe, but like really bad people exist everywhere on the internet. So there's like some grooming that happens. There's no like right now there's no way to separate like anyone under 18 from anyone over 18. And I like this is something
Mhm.
I advocate for. Like we need to do this. Like I myself as an adult, I don't want to play with like children. Like that's not
Right.
really how I want to spend my free time. That doesn't make any sense. And like likewise, these kids should not be hanging out with all these like adults. That's really like creepy.
Yeah.
And there's just no like unless they start taking like unless you start having to like use your like ID to get
Mhm.
in, and like they have to like check your biometrics, make sure it's you, which like then people are like, oh no, like Meta's trying to take our data and control us. But at the it's such a what do you do? Do you protect the like kids and also adults, because I don't really want to hang out with screaming kids.
Right.
or, right, or do you, yeah, it's such a fine balance, but I wish there was a way for them to figure this out, so that, yeah, so those are some of the dangers, and it can get pretty like sad and dark, but overall, like I think, it's the same as in the real world, right? There's a lot of bad stuff, but there's also a lot of people that are trying to protect other people.
Yeah, that's good. So what do you see, kind of to wrap things up, as the future of VR and mixed reality and augmented reality? Where are we heading?
Yeah, so with augmented reality, since we didn't touch on that too much, with that, like, I personally don't like always having to hold my phone. I feel like it's, it like you're always like, oh, where's my phone? And then
Right.
also it's like it takes you away from things. So there's like, for example, there's the Ray-Ban Meta glasses, and those ones, they don't have anything augmented on them, but they are smart glasses. They have AI built into it. So instead of having to like, oh, let me like, oh gosh, what's the weather going to be like tomorrow, and then having to pick up your phone or your computer and check it, you can just say like, hey Meta, what's the weather going to be like, and it will tell you.
Yeah.
So I really like wearable technology. I think that that will like free us up from having to be so glued down looking down on our phone, and instead we can like be present and still get the benefits of technology. I think that's really cool. And then, like I said, I think productivity and practical uses of VR is really good. Like some people just like there's adults that are like, there's like elderly who are just not able to, leave anymore, and they can get really lonely, but there's ways you can travel to different places, interact with people still in VR. Like there's a lot of really wholesome uses. So I just hope that, as we continue to like go down this road, that there's more emphasis on the practical uses and things that are really beneficial outside of just gaming. Because I think that another example is like, for example, if you needed to work and you have your whole computer set up and it's just at home, and you need to be home for you to really be able to work, like in VR, you can just have infinite amount of screens. You can set up your layout the same way, and then you can take that same layout in like the small form factor wherever you go. So
Right.
there's a lot of really good things that you could do, and I hope that that's where we're going, and that Apple Vision Pro coming out takes us there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I'd love to see something just as simple as my glasses, but can be more. I mean, like you said, with the new Ray Bans and stuff. Like,
Mhm, mhm.
if we can get that integrated into like my actual prescription, that would
Yeah.
be
So the Ray-Ban
amazing.
Meta, well, you can order prescription lenses for it.
Oh,
So
nice. Yeah,
yeah, and
perfect. But like
it's really
eventually,
cool.
I want to see like screens and
Oh
stuff,
yeah, that would be very
like
cool.
with the glasses, because I'm already using my glasses every
Yeah,
day.
exactly.
So is there anything else we missed? I mean, you have a ton of content on your channel, so definitely go subscribe to VR with Jasmine if you are not already, and check out that content. But anything else you wanted to address here?
Um, mm, no, I guess I just want to say that, VR is not as like hard to get into or as scary. It seems really daunting because it's a new technology, but it's getting more and more streamlined. Don't be afraid of the tech. There's a lot of like benefits too. If you're not a gamer, like we talked about at a deep extent here, there's so many other benefits and things that you can do. So yeah, don't be afraid of the tech, and find the things that work for you and use it to enhance your life. And if it's not for you, then that's also okay.
Awesome. We've already got my friend Sarah, who is watching on Instagram, said she followed you. Her name's
Oh,
not
thank
really Sarah.
you.
It's a big inside joke, but he's like, her name is Annika. My name is Sarah. At a conference once, they called us like the opposite names.
Oh,
So
that's so funny.
now we always call each other the opposite name.
Hmm.
But she said she followed you, so hopefully you get a few more today
Oh,
as
thank
well.
you.
And
Yeah. And
yeah,
I would
so
love to know, like, if anyone is, because I've been in this space for so long, for me, like, everything seems like, oh, of course, that's how you do, but like, I am here to help all the new people. Like, that's my goal, is to help make it very easy and not scary. And I like, to empower anyone, regardless of their like technical aptitude to get into this stuff. So yeah, if you ever have any recommendations, like I read all my comments. So let me know like what would help you, and like, yeah, help me help you.
yeah. obviously. Or
Yeah.
awesome. That sounds great. So thank you so much, Jasmine. It was awesome to talk to you. I really enjoyed a conversation. So make sure you go follow her, and we will see you guys next time. Thanks.
Thank you.